You are a beginner and you want to build some muscle, get jacked, but how do you start and how do you get the most optimal results? Well, welcome, because you are at the best video on YouTube right now, so watch it until the very end so you understand everything. Before I start, what is a beginner? Well, you're a beginner when you have just started strength training or have not been doing strength training for a long period of time. So if you train like for a month, you're still a beginner. To find out which approach is effective, you should really watch the video to the very end. It is important to know that your technique will not be perfect if you just start with resistance training. You need to give yourself time to master proper form. It is always smart to ask a personal trainer, whether online or in your gym, for feedback. With weight training, you have two different kinds of exercises, also called compound movements and isolation movements. Compound movements are exercises where you are using more muscle groups at the same time during the exercise. So for example, your bench press, overhead press, squats, etc. Isolation exercises are exercises where you use a single muscle group during the exercise, like your bicep curls, your chest flies, etc. Compound exercises are always preferable to isolation exercises. They involve more muscle groups and muscle fibers and are often friendly to the joints and tendons. Furthermore, they have a greater hormonal and endurance impact than isolation exercises. It is also wise to perform them before an isolation exercise and not after. For beginners, it is also known that training a muscle 1 to 2 times per week will provide an optimal training effect. This is because the muscle protein synthesis can remain active for more than 72 hours for a beginner. More training will be counterintuitive for muscle growth. Doing a certain exercise twice a week is also a good way to get stronger. After all, strength is also a skill. Just think about your muscle being the car, and the one that is driving it, that is your nervous system, and the one who's driving it needs to practice to ride the car the most optimal, fastest way possible. So it's a skill. Beginners will get the best results by training with an intensity around 60%. This would be around 12 reps per set, depending on the muscle fiber type difference among beginners. At a low intensity, beginners will achieve a higher muscle activity than if they train at a higher intensity. High metabolic stress, also called the burn, what most beginners are chasing, will activate more muscle fibers. But funny thing is that training intensity says nothing about the effort put in. The aim is therefore to get close to failure without the technique breaking down. Technique is so important, so it should receive a lot of attention in order to learn the technique. And using full range of motion is also essential, so no half reps. Now, there's something I really need you to know. If you're still watching the video, it means you are a real wolf. So like the video and subscribe if you have not already. There are still a lot of people who watch my videos and still have not subscribed. And you definitely do not want to miss my future videos. You want to make gains, do you? Okay, so where I see many beginners immediately ruining their progress is the training volume. By this, I mean the number of work sets per week. Too many people start very high as a beginner, and as a beginner you make the best progress with the least amount of work compared to the rest of your training career. A number of studies have shown that beginners are able to optimize muscle growth and strength by doing 8 to 12 work sets per muscle group per week. Doing more than 4 sets for the same muscle group during strength training does not provide a higher training effect for most beginners. The volume within the same session, as well as the weekly volume, must be very, very low. It is even possible to stimulate muscle growth with only 1 working set per muscle group a week. To complete failure. However, this will not be enough to optimize real progression. So all in all, these are the points you should pay attention to. Give yourself time to master proper form. Learning the movement is a skill, and that means you will get better at it with practice. Train your muscles at least 2 times a week. When you are a beginner, muscle protein synthesis can take up to 72 hours, so make sure to recover properly. Train at an intensity of 60%, so around 12 reps and close to failure, without your technique breaking down. And don't do much work sets. 10 to 12 sets per muscle group per week. More than enough. Doing more will only sabotage your progress. You will grow for sure, but you will not see better gains if you train too much. Train to stimulate the muscle, but not to obliterate the muscle. And as last, stay patient and dedicated. But if you're a wolf, you're patient and dedicated, and you want to get after your goals, so you will get the results anyway. And if you're a wolf, that means that you're subscribed. So subscribe to the channel, like the video if it was helpful, and I see you in the next one, because the next one is gonna be very interesting for you guys. So for all of you who are not subscribed, subscribe, like, and see you next time. Much love.